Well, here's an installment loan problem, and this here's the equation we'll use to solve it. And this equation can be found on page 212. So, P sub bought is the amount of the loan, and that's what we have to find. Catherine can afford $350 per month car payments, so D represents the amount of the payment, $350. She's found a 5-year loan, so the number of years is 5, and represents that at 8% interest, so R is 0.08, converting 8% to a decimal, and she's going to make this payment monthly, so K is 12. So now, let's find out what P sub bought is. And this is question A, by the way. A. And P sub bought equals 350 times the quantity 1 minus, and in parentheses we'll have a 1 plus, and R over K, so that's 0.08 over K, which is 12. Close these parentheses, and now we're going to put an exponent on that, a negative exponent, and it's going to be 5 times 12, n times K. Well, 5 times 12 is 60. Now we'll close the brackets, and then we'll divide by 0.08 divided by 12. And when we enter that into our calculators, and you might have to enter it in at it might take you a couple of entries, iterations to get that done. In other words, enter part like the numerator, compute that, then divide by the denominator. Separate calculation. Depends on the memory storage of your available memory of your calculator. Anyhow, when we compute this, we get $17,261.45. So that's how expensive a car she can afford. Then the next question B, it says, well, how much total money will she pay the company? Well, she's going to pay $350 per month for 60 months. 12 times 5, and the months divide out, and we get $21,000. So she's going to pay a total of $21,000 to the lending institution. And finally, C, the amount of interest she's going to pay is going to be that $21,000 minus the cost of the vehicle, which was $17,261.45, and that difference is $3,738.55. And so we've answered the questions. We're done with that problem. Okay, now we have another installment loan problem. And again, that formula for installment loans is found on page 212. And P sub bought represents the amount of the loan. But this person, Brita, bought a $250,000 house paying 20% down. So if she paid 20% down, that means she only had 80% of that $250,000 left to pay off. So 0.8, which represents 80% of $250,000 equals $200,000, and so that's going to be the amount of the loan or piece of bond. So 200,000, and that's the amount of the loan. Okay, so we just have resolved that little issue. Now the next thing is to, and that's going to be part A, our goal is to, let's see, find her monthly payments. Oh yes, we said 30 years is the length of the loan, and she's going to make payments monthly, so K is 12, N is 30. So therefore, piece of bought, or $200,000 equals, and D, we don't know what D is. That's what we have to determine, the amount of the payment. So bracket times 1 minus, and parentheses 1 plus, and the rate 0.07 over the number of payments, which is 12, raised to negative NK. 30 times 12 is 360, and we close with a bracket, and we're going to divide by 0.07 over 12. And when we compute that, we wind up with $200,000 equals, and computing this business here with our calculator, I get 150 point, and I'm going to carry it out a few decimal places, 4, because it will reduce rounding error, 76, and D. Now we have to isolate D. To do that, we'll divide both sides by this 150.3076. So when we divide 200,000 by this value, we get D equal to, so everybody's clear, when you divide 200,000 by this value, then you and divide this side by the same value, you isolate D, and we get a payment of $1,330.61. So that's we found the amount of the payment. Next thing, we're asked how much interest will she pay over the life of the loan. So B, well, she's going to make a payment of $1,330.61, and she's going to make times 360 payments of that amount. So that'll be the total amount of money she pays. And from that, we're going to subtract $200,000 because that's the amount of money she owed on the house. And that difference will be the amount of interest. And it turns out that difference is $217.82. So she paid low in interest. She paid far more than the $200,000 she paid for the house. And so that takes care of B. And we're done.